Hey, everybody. Welcome to Improv FAQ at Length. This is a series of longer conversations about improv topics that have lots of questions surrounding them. I'm James Quesada.
And I'm Bob Wick.
And this episode is going to be one of our show and tell episodes where we talk about shows that we've been a part of or developed and what we learned from them. And for this episode, we're going to talk about a show that I ran like 10 years ago. I think it was summer. It was definitely 2010, and I believe we started running in the summer. It was called Theo's Comedy Night, which is my Barprov experience, a weekly show that we ran on Tuesdays for a year. So I'm excited to talk about.
Yeah, I'm excited because I remember those. They're really great. Actually, I think that's how me and you started clicking, because we had something to talk about.
Yeah. And we mentioned, we just did the homeschool episode, and we talked about how homeschool came to Theo's, which is a big deal for me and my co-hosts. Did you come? You came a few more times beyond that, though.
Oh, yeah. I worked nights, so it was kind of hard to make it there. But whenever I was available on a Tuesday night, that was the place to be, because nothing else was open, and you know, it's going to be a good time. My friends are going to be there, so why wouldn't I? You know?
Yeah. So, the story behind it is that I discovered improv when I was in college at Eastern Michigan University, and that's in Ypsilanti. I discovered improv taking a class for improvisation and role play. It was mostly meant for like teachers. It was part of the theater curriculum, but a lot of teachers would take it. And so, you know, it was a blend of improv training and some more like practical and communication skills and, you know, group work and whatnot. And that's where I met Tommy Simon.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. And he was a graduate assistant for the class, and I loved it. And I thought Tommy was so funny. And at the end of it, this was in end of 2009, Tommy told me about Go Comedy. And Go Comedy is about, like, you know, 45 minutes to an hour drive away from Ypsi. There was no Pointless in Ann Arbor at that time. And I asked Tommy, like, where does improv happen?
Where is the Prov? Yeah.
Yeah. But he took me out to, or invited me out to Go Comedy, and I started making that trip once a week. But I was a broke college student, and so I couldn't really take classes, but I was going out on Wednesdays for the jam because I really wanted to play and just get my feet wet and see shows. And there was the most variety of stuff going on Wednesdays, including an opportunity to get on stage. But just going out there every week was like really wearing on me. And so my friend Alex Marr and I, who
I was just about to ask, did you know him before improv? Did you know how long have you known Alex?
We met in college. I think we had met maybe a year before. Yeah, I think a year before we were in a fraternity together.
What?
Yeah, which is also how I know Colin, my
man.
roommate. And Colin actually started improvising with us too. We had this is a little bit of a sub saga to the Theo's Comedy Night topic, but me and Alex and Colin and Tommy Simon and our buddy Jordan all started a group, just a practice group out in Ypsi, because we were all students at Eastern. And so we started getting together. Tommy was nice enough to hang out with us and teach us some things about improv. Then that was the group that I would commute out every Wednesday with, is like those four guys. Tommy would be coming from Detroit, and anybody else from Ypsi that I could get to get in the car with me and just come hang out for the night to see improv. yeah, Colin was actually doing some improv then too. But eventually, people kind of fell off of that, and it just ended up being me and Alex that were really serious about trying to get better at improv and learn and go out every single Wednesday to go comedy. And like I said, we were getting kind of stretched thin on the commute, and we didn't have a lot of money for like gas or like the looming threat of the car, having an issue from the regular drive. And so we were like, why don't we try to do something out this way? We'll just put something together. And Alex is like a producer type, so I think it must have been his idea to be like, we'll just find a place and we'll do it ourselves. And we actually we went to go see a show at there's these two places on the same street in Ypsi. Tower Inn restaurant and then Theo's. And at Tower Inn, we went to go see a comedy night that was like a weekly thing there. And
stand-up?
It was stand-up and improv.
Yeah. Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. And actually the team that played every week was The Corner.
Yeah, I was to say, was it The Corner? Yeah.
Yep.
Fucking Corner.
With Tim K and who else is that? Andy O.
Oh, God. I can see all their faces, but yeah, I can't.
Were they around during like Inferno days? We should.
Yes.
We should do a show with Tim about The Corner, because The Corner.
Oh man,
has a good story.
We should get Tim, PJ, and and Garrett on to talk about The Corner and the Inferno days, because I think that'd be hilarious.
Yeah. But so the funny kind of timing coincidence is that The Corner was running a weekly show at this place called Tower Inn, and me and Alex and a bunch of our friends went to go see their show. We were like, "There's improv in Ypsi, like let's go check it out." And then we found out that they decided they quit. Or at least they discontinued the regular shows at the Corner, or sorry, at the Tower Inn. And we were like, and so that two things happened is one, we met Darnell Anderson, who is a funny stand-up that was running the stand-up portion of that stand-up and improv show. And then we also were like, well, if there's no improv going on, maybe we can do it ourselves. And Tower Inn didn't really have like a stage. They just had kind of like a corner that they were doing it in like the restaurant. And a couple of our friends worked at this bar called Theo's that had like a dance floor at least. And then they when we started doing shows there, they set us up with like those risers that looked like just the top of cafeteria tables. Like,
they're always so sturdy. Oh,
yeah, 6 inches off the ground and just like
like they're like little trampolines, man.
Yeah. So yeah, that was basically the thing behind it is that we were looking for a place to do some improv ourselves, and pairing up with Darnell, and really just missing The Corner doing their regular show led us to team up, and me and Alex were planning to bring in improvisers, and then Darnell was going to port over all of the stand-ups that he was putting on the regular rotation, and start moving things over to Theo's. So that was the origins of it.
Now, before you even get started, is there a conversation with like Theo's like, hey, we want to do a comedy night? Like, I imagine it's you scratch my back, I scratch yours type situation. What was that kind of deal? Or
the owners of Theo's were pretty cool. It's like almost to a fault, because they were the kind of place that like, I don't want to get anybody in trouble, but they were the kind of place that was pretty lenient about whether or not they were IDing people and things like that. Yeah. You know what I mean? So like, and they're closed now. They
well, then you can throw them out. I don't want to get anybody in this clothes establishment in trouble. Yeah, I don't want to get the bouncer fired.
But they are old school Greeks, Greek in nationality, and also they just had a lot of friends and connections in the Greek fraternity sorority community too. So they were really friendly and open to like each generation of students coming in. And yeah, Alex, somebody worked there. Either Alex or Colin already worked there. We just knew people there, and so the owners were familiar with like our group of friends, and so they were pretty open to it. They wanted tried different ways to get people in the door and just having drinks, having fun. So yeah, it was a pretty easy deal to make, I guess.
Yeah, and being in a college town, trying to get some kind of appeal on a Tuesday night without dropping your prices to a quarter a beer is you know.
They did, and they did that too. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Cool. Oh man, I'm glad I was working nights. I would have gotten in trouble.
Yeah, right. Well, they didn't do it on Tuesdays. They did it on Mondays. That like they were again, they were trying different gimmicks every night. But Monday was $1.50 pitchers and maybe quarter or 50-cent beers.
Wow.
And actually, Bob, I don't want to go all over the place with this, but again, funny little side story.
Okay.
Is that $1.50 pitchers on Monday nights at Theo's was very popular, and eventually we got really sick of it because it was also very it's a rough night for students. So we started an event, a get together on Monday nights as an alternative to going to $1.50 pitcher nights. We started a group called the $1.50 Social Club in college, and that was me and Colin and my friend Joe. Right. And then this is so fucking coincidental, but the podcast $1.50 Social Club gets its name from that gathering that we would have on Monday nights.
Wow.
The shit instead of going to get trash.
That's like a 10-year-old throwback. I like that.
Yeah. But yeah, so Tuesday nights was the thing. Me and Alex would try to bring in. That's also where we met Gary. Like it was pretty exciting for us because we were, months into discovering improv, and so each time that like somebody new came that we knew was like an established improviser, like you guys or Gary, who lives in Ann Arbor, we would get people that were feeling the same way that we were about like, man, it's a pain in the ass to be driving out to Ferndale every week or multiple times a week. And so some people were really excited to have a closer alternative. And some people, like yourself, would make the drive in the opposite direction just to check it out.
Yeah, just to see something different, you got to mix it up. I don't get people who only watch improv in the same theater all the time without moving or going, especially like in a town like ours where we have like 3 really great theaters where you can just switch it up and see new things. A lot of us do play at the same theaters, and so, but there's people who stick to one theater and you only get to see their style there. So why not?
Like if you're curious about improv and you're really excited about it, I just don't know. It's hard for me to imagine not like getting that itch to be like, what's going on at other places?
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, we ran that show for a year, and it had kind of like your Barprov experience. It had like big ups and downs in terms of like feeling successful about dragging people out to a bar to do improv and whatnot. There were a couple nights where we like packed the house, which is like 70 people or so. But it was but for a space that had cleared out a good area to put a stage, that was a lot of people. I think the capacity of the place is around 100
on a Tuesday night. That's pretty incredible, man, for real.
Yeah. And then there were other nights where like literally, we'd be literally the only people there, which was only a bummer if it happened like a month in a row or something like that. But otherwise, it's also like that's the benefit of having the stand-up and the improv is that you at least get people who aren't up there for the whole thing or doing the same thing.
Yeah.
It was a pretty supportive group of friends. And I met some of the funniest stand-ups that still are like some of my favorite people to pay attention to on like social media. Harry Morose, I mean, Darnell as a host.
Yeah.
Ricardo Flanagan, just like really, really funny people that became part of the regular crew that gave me my biggest exposure to stand-up as an area of the comedy community and kind of crossover with like theater and comedy and improv and all that.
So let's talk about the show itself. As I remember it, it was short form stand-up, long form stand-up, or is that?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think you're right. We definitely did a short form jam.
Right.
And I'm sure that we messed with the running order of things. I don't think we always had. I think we kind of had it like a variety thing, but we would definitely do short form jam for anybody who signed up, and then we would have a long form group, which was if we could get a guest to come out, we would get like homeschool to play, and if not, then we would just have like the regular crew, me and Alex, and plus anybody else that was like standard or whatever, a little bit more experienced to play a long form set. And then we would do stand up. So, Darnell was a great host. And so would kind of like mix in stand up and also play some of the games. So some of the stand-ups would play the improv too. So it was a little bit of a blend, but yeah, I think that's the way it went.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Promotions. So you're past MySpace by now, so you couldn't use any of my old tricks.
Well, yeah, I think it's guys like me that Facebook took away the option to blast invite with a click of a button everybody on your friend list.
Yeah.
I think that might have even changed like while we were in our year of running that show, because I remember a friend of mine in like a college friend getting mad at me or like sending me a direct message to just be like, stop fucking spamming me with your improv show. And I didn't know any better because I didn't feel that way.
To me, it's like, how hard is it to delete an email or a message? Like, no one who's doing it is doing it to hurt you or maliciously. Like, I mean, you didn't put it on the improv show just to get that guy.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. I'm sure it caught him on a bad day or whatever, just getting under his skin. But at the same time, I was just like indiscriminately inviting people, and I don't. What else do you do? I think maybe we did. We would do like pop-up improv a couple times throughout that year at events when we could. Just do some improv, and I just remember having a picture in my head of getting a big circle of people together, maybe during like freshman orientation or some kind of like job fair or something. Big circle of people together on the lawn and just doing like a circle up, games in the middle in the round, and then telling people to come check it out.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. I got my boss to come from Bed Bath & Beyond once, which is pretty funny. I got like a whole crew of Bed Bath & Beyond people to come, and including the general manager, which like in retrospect, like he's a busy dude. Like it was fun to have him out.
Well, it's stories like that. Like, then why don't you invite everybody? So it's hard to say.
Yeah, because if I was like, no, I don't want to bother him. Like, he had a great time, and you're right. Like,
people are looking for entertainment. Like, and maybe because you guys were a newer crew, you're not going to be like TJ and Dave or anything. But sometimes the enjoyment is just seeing your friends get up there and do something that you had no idea they were into. So I get it, man. I don't know. But I also get why someone might be annoyed. Like. But then again, like that's what social media is for, to be social.
Yeah. No, you're right. I think it's like you said. I think the main thing is it's easy enough to ignore these notifications. And I guess there's more control over like what things you get pinged by but whatever. It's social media.
I'm sorry. I took way too many laps on that. I guess like I've heard that that's been said to me so many times. Like, God damn it, Bob, snow day. We know, we get it. Like,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah. Yeah. I
but
guess
the next time I see that person, you're gonna ask me when's the next show. So
yeah, totally. Yeah. I mean, people aren't like that about concerts. They're not like Jennifer Lopez is coming. I fucking get it. Like, they're just like passive, and you're like, you just ignore it. That's it, right? You're either going or you're not, and you don't. That's it.
I never yelled at a billboard like, I don't need my oil changed.
Yeah, I get it.
I get it.
I get it. The speed limit is 70.
No, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all in all, I think I'm glad that we just did it for a year. I think we were pretty burnt out by the end of it, and it is a lot of work. Just like booking.
Oh, yeah.
It was my first experience running a show of my own with the help of Alex and Darnell.
Are there anything you would have done differently, or wish you had done more of?
I guess if I were to do it over, I can't remember if we got a couple cool things to happen with like promo or whatever, like the school newspaper. Sounds so lame, but like, we were in the EMU.
No, that's who you're trying to get in the door. That's
So there's
students.
Like, yeah. I mean, there's like a couple press photos or whatever, but I think I would have just sought those out more to try and I just would have been more creative with the way that we were enticing people to come see. And I think going out and doing improv would have been probably the way to do it, is like, because we were very excited about it. But you would think that we would be just as excited to be like, yeah, let's go to the rec center or the student center and just like do some improv and get people to ask us questions. But like you said, it's a little tough when I was only like 6 months to 18 months into improvising over the course of it. And so I probably also didn't have the confidence to be like, all they got to do is see me improvise.
I don't think people who've been doing it 100 years say that. Yeah. Wait till you see me improvise.
Yeah.
Change your whole religion. I don't know.
Yeah, I think to be honest, I don't feel like I left it all on the table really with this.
That's awesome.
I went out like me and Alex and Darnell really like, especially Alex, because like as a pair, while we're doing Theo's and we're making our way out to Go Comedy still once a week. We didn't stop going. We just got to do Tuesdays and Wednesdays in different cities. And when we would go out to Go Comedy, Alex is super extroverted and social and easily talk people up. So I was happy to have him to follow him around and basically have him like ice break and be like, yeah, well, we're doing Theo's on Tuesdays. And then, I might jump into the conversation at that point. But that would probably actually be the thing that I would change, is that like Alex aside, I would find ways to be a little bit more proud or inviting to people at Go Comedy and in the improv community. I think I would have an easier time going to Eastern and kind of trying to get like students to come see or whatever, but like, I should have been more comfortable in the improv community being like, well, there's your main group of people that are going to be interested as improvisers, right?
Yeah.
But I was always.
But I can see like being someone new into the community, like, oh, what you have is great, but you want to come see my thing? I get it. Yeah, I get it.
And on the other hand, though, I think the reason that we picked Tuesdays is because Planet Ant was doing Improv Mondays, as they always do, and then Go Comedy was dark on Monday and Tuesdays.
Yeah.
So Tuesday was a non-competitive slot for those theaters. So we didn't feel like we were pulling people away or
of course
doing the Barprov thing of like best comedy in town, baby.
Oh man.
Yeah.
we've talked about my pop-up. We talked about your pop-up. And I would guess there's students listening to this right now. Would you recommend that they do their own pop-up? And what do you think, if yes, what do you think they gain from it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, so much of our conversations are with the disclaimer of like after COVID or whatever.
Of course, yeah.
But even online, you can put together your own thing, right? So I think the answer is yes. Right? I would strongly say the answer is yes. That people should put together their own thing more. I also at the same time understand that like it takes a certain type of person to kind of be scrappy and I don't know, just like be motivated to organize, because that is like the biggest trade-off, right? Is that like when you join somebody else's thing, you get the external organization and structure and rule setter or whatever it is, and when you put your own thing together, the big positive is that you get to do it on your own terms in your own way and at the time that is best suited and most available for you. But you do have to do all the work to organize.
All on your shoulders, yeah.
And what was the second part of your question?
What do you think it would? Yeah, what do you get out of it?
I think you get a better sense of what's possible. And you put like I learned to put less to put other opportunities on less of a pedestal, or like because people are like, auditions are coming around, or I want to be in this team or that team, or chasing other opportunities, and I think that's a good thing. But I think that there's a slippery slope where people kind of get like big anxiety or like self-worth issues out of whether or not they get a chance at those opportunities. And learning to create your own opportunities just takes away from that negative.
I completely agree. Yes. Yeah. I mean, because when you already have your own thing going to add on to it, it's just, it seems easier, in a way, because it's just more of the same compared to like, this is my one shot, I better not screw it up. Like, that's so much pressure. And yeah. And I wish people would understand that, like, in general, like, the theaters don't own improv. You're allowed to, they taught it to you or you took classes there, but you're allowed to go do it wherever you want.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
And I think it puts a different lens on like, what are you doing it for? Right. Because there's like the validation of getting cast, which is nice. But like the questions you have to ask yourself is like, well, what if you never get the opportunity you're looking for? Like, what do you do then? Do you still want to do improv? Do you still enjoy it? Like, is there still a different way for you to, like, what are your goals if you never get the external validation from some other entity, And then the second thing is, what if you get all the opportunities?
Right.
Like, are you going to be like, well, done? Or what would your goals become then? And again, I think that's a little bit that arc of like people who really want to get better and are hungry for stage time, and then they get an opportunity and then they kind of like slow down, and it's like, well, maybe a big part of what they wanted was just the validation, and then it's kind of like, oh, you cool off after that. But I think if you can find your own way to like have personal goals and keep pushing and challenging yourself, that you'll get everything that you're looking for and then keep growing. No matter, for as long as you're doing any of the things that you get,
No, I completely agree. And just to piggyback on that, I think from people looking at from the outside, watching people like you and Alex do what you did, I just remember the first thing I remember about you guys were, oh, these guys can put something together. These guys, and they don't kind of just throw it together. They actually take the time to make sure it's a good show. That's why I kept on coming back. I could have just, I lived down the street from Go. I could just went there whenever I wanted to. But what drove me to Ipsy was the fact that you guys got together, put a bunch of hungry people together to put on this great show, and it was really entertaining. And that's what improvisers want. That's what people want in general. And I think, so, I mean, as someone who, as if you are a student and you want to try this, you know, and you don't think you have necessarily all the skills, find your Alex, you know, find the yin to your yang. Like, you know, maybe you're the organizer, but they're the outgoing person that can connect with people, or vice versa. And then, you know, create your own thing and just do it as well. Because people will notice, you know, you might not get the pat on the back you get when you pass an audition, but it's still pretty fulfilling to like create something yourself and to make it and help it grow and be, you know, perform in it and just see what happens, you know?
Yeah, totally. And I think that that's again, this kind of applies to improv and other things in life too, is that like, if you create opportunities, there's a lot of gravity that comes with that. And as opposed to kind of like sitting and waiting for the next opportunity to be presented, it's very rewarding, obviously, for yourself to create your own opportunities, but also like we created our own opportunity and we created opportunities for others, and that was really exciting, to give people a jam or stage time for an up and coming troupe or a student group or whatever, and then people start to look at you as someone that can create opportunities, or that they want to work with, because if there's an idea, that there's a real possibility that it might come to life if they work with you. And so that's a big takeaway too, is just like you said, representing yourself as somebody that can produce.
Right. And, you know, as much of this thing of ours is performance, is also community, and networking is part of that. So, yeah. I mean, maybe you don't go through an official audition to become someone who's in charge of things, but if you create your own thing and people notice that you have that skill set, there you go. Life's audition.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And I don't think I would have met people like, I think that's how I met Gary. I think I had heard of him because he's a coach and a teacher. And somebody invited him out to Theo's, and it was so cool. I mean, like he totally blew us away as far as like, that's an improviser, you know, and then he was like a regular. And I also got to become like really good friends with him through that experience. And again, that's like a way to find your people too, is like creating your own opportunities, and your own brand for doing it. In a place that works for you is like, okay, well, you're more than likely going to find, you're going to find your people, your hive, when you do that, because people who like the same sorts of things done in the same way are going to gravitate toward it as well.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that like in terms of major takeaways from it for me. But I think that really covers it. It's just, it's so much, you know, we talked with Barprov about like having thick skin, or we talked a little bit about it with Jamie too, that performing in a bar also creates, you get a little bit more thick skinned, and you really have to like, and it's also a big challenge to like put your performance stage presence on. And we definitely had nights when there'd be a group of guys in there to see the hockey game or something.
Oh, that's the worst. Yeah.
And and then we're like, just apologize. So, but I love what you said in the Barprov episode about like, well, the just do what you're there to do, and don't be combative with people who aren't into it, because the house is on your side. If it really becomes an issue, the house is not an NHL sponsor. They're supporting your night, you know?
Absolutely. And honestly, it's that thing like we always try to punch up. And even if these group of guys are being jerks, you're the one who's on stage with the spotlight on you with the microphone. If you start getting crude and, combative, you look like the dick. So it's a lose-lose.
Yeah. 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 Man, definitely one of the best stretches of improv for me, and I
That's awesome.
I really reference it a lot, especially because it gave me a lot of again opportunity to get on stage, and yeah, again, just to, I guess, in summary, what you gain out of it is that like that honestly was one of the biggest growth periods for me.
Yeah. Well, you have to, when you're putting something together, you get to see all the pieces.
Mhm.
And I don't think as a student you get to, because, you don't get onto the stage until your student show. So the stage is just there. It's just a thing that's always been there. You never had to put it together yourself. You never had to fill the audience yourself. You never, print up tickets or, make sure that the doors are open. It's,
Yep.
it's important. Yeah. All these little things you don't think about when you're just like, oh man, my one job tonight is just to say yes. And
Yeah. And then it's that much more rewarding on top of having a good show.
Absolutely.
You're also like, and it's a show that I helped build. So, added lots of rewarding things come up, as long as you can deal with how, the work and how lame it can be when it's not going well. The big peaks, big valleys, or whatever. Okay, I think that covers it for Theo's comedy night. I'm glad that we got to talk about it. We
definitely
shared both of our Barprov producing war stories.
Is that the name of the episode? War Stories with James and Bob.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, and I guess after the Barprov episode 2, I was like, it's really there's so much fun to it. Everybody looks back at it like, oh, groan, but I didn't. You don't think about how shitty it is to be on those 6-inch cafeteria risers or whatever. You're just doing it and having fun and just like amazed and proud that it came to fruition at all. So.
Yeah, using a shop light as a spotlight with no filter, so you're blind the whole time.
Like flag behind you.
Yeah. No music, no intro. Like, it's just, hey everyone, we're starting.
Totally, yeah.
So it's so awkward. Hey everyone, can we turn off the jukebox really quick? We're gonna do some comedy for you.
Yeah. Cool, man. Good talk.
Always.
And I'm loving the show and tell series, so I'm
me too.
Unpacking the other shows that we've done in future episodes, man.
Definitely
fun stuff. If you want to follow us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube. We are also a podcast on Gabber Media. You can find us on anywhere that you listen to podcasts. We are releasing episodes in batches. So, Bob, where are we at with how many do we have out there?
20 as of this recording, possibly more by the time this goes up.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think we have more like 40 episodes, including the ones that haven't been released yet. So we're just trying to catch up with ourselves, but you can find the most current content on YouTube. You can find a shortened version of each episode on Facebook, and you can also find the first 20 episodes on podcasts, and eventually those will be lined up with each other. But if you have any suggestions for topics or guests, you can also send us an email at improvfaq@gmail.com, or you can hit us up on those social media platforms. Thanks so much for joining, and we'll catch you next time on Improv FAQ at length.
Bye.
Bye.